Hello team, today's challenge is prank number, where we're given an array of numbers that should be a sequence, and one of those numbers, in this case the 7, really shouldn't fit in there. So this should be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, the sequence being previous number plus 2, right? And 7 doesn't work in that. So we need to figure that out, okay? And it's the same with all these. So this should be 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. I could just read it over here. This one is plus 12 each time to get the thing. This one is minus 3, right? And we keep doing that all the way through. Now, this challenge took me a while to come up with a solution. It's not something that I normally do. Requires a little bit of clever thinking, okay? So if you didn't get it, no worries, I got you, okay? The key that I found for this is that we needed the mode of these numbers. And not just the mode of these numbers, but the mode of the difference of these numbers. So the mode, right, the mode being primary school math, mode, median, and mean, right? The mode is the most common number. So in this array, the most common number being 10, well, that would be the mode, okay? But again, we aren't looking for the mode of these numbers. We're looking for the mode of the differences. So 4 minus 2 is 2. 7 minus 4 is 3. 8 minus 7 is 1. 10 minus 8 is 2. We have two 2's. That is our mode. Okay. Same with here, right? 10 minus 10 is 0. 8 minus 10 is 2. 7 minus 8 is 1. 6 minus 7 is 1. Our mode is 1, right? And that math is how we figure out how to fix the sequence, okay? How to recreate the sequence properly. The other thing that I noticed while doing this is that these numbers can be anywhere. So while this is in the middle and this is the second one, the error happens at the very end of test number 4, and the error happens at the very beginning of test 6 and 7. And you'll see that for 6 and 7, we need to add some extra magic. Okay, so we'll get into all that. But right now we need to figure out that mode. That's the first part, okay? Figuring out what the difference between the sequences, okay? For that, we're going to create a function. It's going to be up here. Let's call it get diff mode, okay? We're going to toss in the array and do stuff. Now, could this be two functions? One to get the diffs and one to get the mode of that array? Probably, and that would be a more flexible solution. Today, this part, I'm not super happy about it, so I'm just going to blast it through, and that's what you'll see. If you want to break it apart into separate pieces, absolutely do that. Take the time to do that, okay? For this, I'm going to set an array, let's call it modes, because we're going to funnel the numbers into this based on their math, okay? And if we find that number more than once inside of here, then that's probably our mode, and we're going to return it, okay? So down here we have a for loop. It's going to be let I equal 1. Why 1? Well, because if we try to subtract the 0 index from the previous number, there is none. It's going to be undefined. That's kind of a waste of our time. So let's just start at 1, and then we're always guaranteed to have a previous number, okay? Which is good. Right here we go I is less than array.length and I plus plus, not like that, plus plus, there it is. Excellent, okay? Getting that current number, okay? So the current number is that array, okay? Array index I minus array I minus 1. So again, previous index. We're always using that previous index to help us along. If current is, if modes.includes current, okay? So if it's already in there, then this is probably our mode. And again, this code is not as flexible as I would like. I'll talk about that in a second, okay? I also did this completely wrong. Let's go and do that. It should be curly braces with current, So if it includes that, then we return current. Otherwise, modes.push current, getting it in there so that we can try and find it on the next one. Okay. So again, we set up this this capture box, right? This accumulator, and then we loop through. So we get the difference between the current number and the previous number. If we already have that captured inside of this modes array, then we return it. Otherwise, we put it in there. Okay. And that way, at some point, we're going to run into a place where it's like, oh yeah, it's already there. Okay, that's it. That's it. And I have to be honest. Okay, I've hinted at this. This is my least favorite part of the solution. It's not. It feels like it could have some bugs in here. The bugs being, what happens if our array has multiple mistakes, right? Like if on this one they added the 7 here and then they added an 11 at the end or something. Problems, right? That could be real problems for us. Thankfully, the nature of this challenge means that we don't have that, but it could. And so this mode function, it needs work. Okay. But for today it works. We can absolutely do that. So let's go and grab this part here, come down, go let mode equal get diff mode array. Okay, and that's going to return that special number in there, which means that down here we can start to do stuff. That's going to be a reduce. We're going to get the accumulator, the current, and the index. Okay, the index we use a couple times, but right out of the gate, if index equals 0, okay, then we just return the current item in an array. We also did not start with an initial value, so let's do that. But down here, now we can return the actual thing, okay? And that's going to be whatever the accumulator is, just like this, and then we tack on the next appropriate value, okay? Which in this case is the accumulator's past value, so again, index minus 1, like this. Oh, come on, don't do that. I missed one. So index minus 1, be sure that you get your brackets right. I think I might have messed that up. Plus the mode as our incrementer, okay? Which means that all of this, if we do this, I just ran it, we should see a bunch of plus signs, except for these last two. And again, these last two, the mistake is in one of the first two items, okay? So we need a way to check that. And the way that we check that is by subtracting the second value from the first value and seeing if it equals the mode, okay? This should be minus 25, right? 400 minus 375, that's minus 25. 425 minus 400 is plus 25. That's not the same, right? And the same down here. 10 minus 5, the mode here, or the sequence difference is 5, right? 10 minus 5 is 5. 5 minus 5 is 10, okay? Which is very different than our sequence mode, okay? So we need to figure that out. And the way that we do that is with a conditional. So we go right here and we set up our conditional, which is going to be should reverse, okay? We'll talk about that in a second. Basically what we're going to do is we are going to reverse the array if it should reverse, then do the work, then reverse it back, okay? So we need to create a conditional reverse in here, but it starts with this. So should reverse equals array, array what? Array 1, sorry, minus array 0, okay? Not equal to mode. And right here, mode equals should reverse. If that's true, then it's mode times minus 1 or mode, okay? Now, the reason for this is basically down here, I don't want to change anything inside of this reduce. I want to work around it. So it's going to be something like this, where we have conditional reverse as a chain, and this is going to be true. Actually, it's going to be should reverse, okay? Just like that. And then if that's true, then we do the work, and then we reverse it again, okay? So we get that done, but I don't want to change anything inside of this reverse, inside of this reduce, sorry. And the magic of that is that if I reverse it, and then I use a mode times -1, I've also reversed that. So nothing about this needs to change. I just use mode. That's why I set it to let. And this part, I shouldn't have to change it. Now I do need to figure out this conditional reverse, especially as a chaining event, right? Which is kind of odd, but let's do that. So right here, right above it, I'm going to go capital A array dot prototype dot paste all this in. It doesn't really like that. Let's go right here. So array.prototype.conditional reverse equals function with an argument of should reverse, okay? If you want, should reverse maybe should have a default argument, right? Just in case you want to use this by itself. And I've talked about this before in other videos, but if we are altering the prototype chain, right, we really should namespace things. So this conditional reverse, I'm going to multi-cursor this, go to the beginning and go FCC _ conditional reverse. That way, if somebody was to add a conditional reverse, like if TC39 was to ever add this function, my stuff isn't going to be broken and future JavaScript is not going to be broken. Okay, it's very important. We do that, we do the thing, brilliant, okay? Inside of here, we return, okay? Should reverse, just like this. If that is true, then we get this to reversed, okay? To reversed is fairly new, but it will create a copy of the array, reverse it, and return that, okay? So when we're using just reverse, it's an in-place change. And that's sometimes easy to overlook. So be careful with that. If you didn't want to do it this way, you could go with reverse, but you really, really should create your own copy, okay? Either one of these will work. I'm going to go with to reverse today because I can get away with that. If we shouldn't reverse, then we just pass it through. So we return this, okay? At which point, everything works, okay? So what have we done? Well, we started by getting the mode. Again, I'm not super happy with this code, right? I feel like it could be more boxed in, more universally transferable, right? Right now it's kind of fixed to doing just this one thing. So maybe breaking it into two functions, one to get the diffs and one to get the mode, is a very good idea, right? From there, we used it, right? And we created this reduce, which we never changed. Once we created this, we never changed it with what came next, okay? That's very important because the flexibility of this lies in not having to alter this based on different conditions of the array, okay? It should just work. Now, the conditions that we do have are that if the beginning two elements in the array don't mathematically come out to be mode, if we subtract, well, right here, array index 1 from array index 0, if that's not equal to mode, then we need to reverse it, okay? And what we did for that was we created a little extra helper on the prototype chain. Again, if you're going to do this, namespace everything, always. Always namespace your prototype changes, okay? Just so that you aren't breaking the internet. It happens. But if that's the truth, then we reverse it. Otherwise, we just pass it through, right? We don't do anything with this. Could this have been a copy? Yeah, absolutely it could, right? There's nothing stopping us from doing that. but we aren't really doing anything to it anyway. So what's the harm? Okay. Right there, we do that. We reverse it, then we reduce it, then we reverse it, maybe, right? If we don't have to reverse it, we pass it through, we just do the reduce and kick it out the door. If we do have to, then we reverse it, do the work. It's getting cyclical, what I'm describing here, but hopefully that's making sense. And again, it all just works. Do I like this solution? Again, there are parts that I could improve on. Okay, and I'm sure that maybe you already have. If you have, show me in the comments. Show me what you've done. But definitely let me know what you like about this, what you hate about this. Let me know all that stuff in the comments. Okay. Otherwise, today this is my solution for prank number, and I will see you tomorrow.